Hi muckers, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm gonna be honest, a lot of you predicted that this video was coming. Today we're gonna be doing a video, the rise and fall of none other than the legendary, the iconic, the very loved on this YouTube channel, Alexa Nikolas. Everyone give it up for Alexa Nikolas. Welcome. Okay, so I have been doing a little bit of a deep dive into Alexa Nikolas, the rise of her career, the controversies, the scandals, the fall, and I'm going to detail it all for you today. Now, I learned a lot about Alexa throughout this entire process because I really only knew Alexa from the last maybe couple years when she has been doing Eat Predators. I didn't watch Zoey 101 whenever I was growing up. It was just not a show that I watched. I think it was a little bit before my time because I'm so young and fresh, obviously. So I didn't watch it. I also really never liked Jamie Lynn Spears. Even whenever I was younger, I really was threatened by her aura. So I never would watch anything Jamie Lynn Spears was in, even though I was a big fan of Britney, which is crazy. I sensed something was up from the moment I saw Jamie Lynn Spears. But anyways, I never watched the show, so I really got my introduction of Alexa in recent years, but I would assume the majority of people know Alexa from back in the day. Now, this is interesting because this is the first rise and fall video in which I am actually involved in it. I had to include myself in the timeline because near the end of, the rise and fall of Alexa Nikolas, Adam McIntyre comes up. This is the first time in any of the people we've made this video on that I'm actually directly involved. So we will get to that, okay? So, Alexa Nikolas, lover or hater? She had her rise on Zoey 101, and she was cast as Nicole on Zoey 101, and Alexa, from even what I could see back, from like news articles and the way people were talking about her on the show, reviews of the show, she was a star. Like, she was loved on Zoey 101, and the main reasons for this was because of her character. Like, her character was well written, she was a great actor, and people really, really, really loved her character, Nicole. But what was really interesting was, even though she was such a loved character, after season 2, she was abruptly written off the show, and people didn't know what was happening. There were a lot of rumors in the tabloids at this time that there was on-set bullying from Jamie Lynn Spears, or maybe Alexa was the bully. There was a lot of narratives going around that there was some capacity of bullying going on in set, and then Alexa was written off the show. And obviously, Jamie Lynn Spears is the star of the show, and she is, the sister of Britney Spears. So, of course, Jamie Lynn Spears was going to be getting the favoritism there from the producers and the TV execs and stuff. So it seemed that Alexa was really done wrong in this moment by being written off the show because of petty drama or bullying that was happening as well. So she ended up leaving Zoey 101 because she was written off the show. Now, Alexa later confirmed that she was bullied by Jamie Lynn Spears and that the production team just didn't treat her well on the show. She also said that she was kind of fired without clear explanation. And then in 2022, Jamie Lynn Spears released her memoir. And now in her memoir, she portrayed Alexa as kind of unstable. And this prompted Alexa to publicly start attacking Jamie Lynn Spears. She started reacting to everything Jamie was doing in the media. I remember she was talking about, she was kind of like mocking Jamie's interviews that she was doing promoting her book, and she was really pissed at the book. She was, if I can remember correctly, calling it like fiction, and she was just not happy that Jamie Lynn Spears had released a memoir in which the narrative in this book was that Alexa was actually the one in the wrong or whatever. And one thing I will say about all of this is it's incredibly petty because if Alexa's telling the truth or Jamie Lynn Spears is telling the truth, my main thing is you both were children. You both were incredibly young, and the adults in the situation should have been the one that were guiding you in the right direction, making sure it was a safe professional work environment. So in this instance, I don't see any problems with Jamie Lynn Spears, and I don't see any problems with Alexa Nikolas. You know why? Because they were young kids who were probably getting an ego, getting a lot of fame, and we're excited to be on a TV show, and that created probably rivalries and bullying, and unfortunately, things that kids that age do to each other. But this time, it was heightened by who's going to be in more scenes, who does the production love more, And so in this instance, I never really had an opinion on it. Obviously, production is different if they're doing things, but I don't see Jamie Lynn as a villain because of this, because of as a child, she was bullying Alexa Nikolas. I wouldn't see Alexa as a villain because she was bullying Jamie Lynn Spears. That's not how I'm looking at this at all. But it's an important part of the story because, again, Alexa, when this memoir was released, started really going after Jamie Lynn Spears, and she was very, very, very angry. So this is really interesting because when Jamie Lynn Spears released the book and then Alexa started attacking the book, I would say that the public and the social media of it all started getting really interested in Alexa and the behind the scenes of what Zoey 101 was like. And this kind of created a perfect shift for Alexa, which was that she started speaking out against the behind the scenes of Zoey 101. And then that turned into speaking out against Nickelodeon and the producers and Dan Schneider, you know, the creator of Nickelodeon, who famously is hated on the internet anyways for being a fucking creep. So it was kind of a right moment for her to make that pivot. And she, you know, really started detailing what these people in this industry do to child actors. And in 2022, she ended up launching the Eat Predators movement. And she would be seen protesting outside of the Nickelodeon studios. She started speaking up a lot about people in the industry that would, you know, treat or abuse child actors. She very much so was on Dan Schneider. She created a new backdrop for her videos, which was, you know, Eat Predators and talking about survivors. And she really became a voice for survivors. And she, you know, was accusing Nickelodeon of enabling predators, creating unsafe environments, not protecting the kids, creating bad environments for kids to be in while they're being overworked. And again, kind of the main overall point was, you know, enabling predatory behavior and there being abusers on set and treating the kids wrong and abusing the kids and whatever that may look like. And again, I would say the Eat Predators movement specifically at the start started rapidly gaining a very loyal cult following of people that were very passionate about exposing these Hollywood execs. And now again, Alexa would be protesting at every protest with her Sickelodian signs, which she then would sell for merch, which I have a problem with you profiting off of that. And I always have. And I called her out for that. But anyways, the issue with her creating such a cult following very quickly off the bat was she started gaining a very crazy audience. And in later years, which we will discuss, this audience were then used to weaponize against people that Alexa wanted to attack, whether this was a journalist or a content creator or, I don't know, an old child star. Alexa started to build this connection with her crazy audience that were incredibly parasocial and incredibly vicious, that they would attack whoever she was exposing. And obviously, as a content creator, you kind of have a responsibility with your audience and what they're going to do with what you propose to them, just to kind of safeguard the internet a little bit. Specifically, if you're speaking out against people being, you know, put in unsafe environments or being harassed or whatever, and then your audience are literally doing that to anyone you speak about, okay? So, the thing with Dan Schneider was that she would very, very, very much so highlight his inappropriate behavior, his dynamics with the kids, and just generally how toxic and unsafe he was to be around. And again, this was her content. She would make, you know, live stream after live stream about Dan Schneider, about Nickelodeon, and, you know, she really started to build up the Eat Predators movement. And so anyways, she, you know, started demanding full investigations and basically was just asking for, like, industry-wide accountability. And here's the thing. People respected the hell out of her because, you know, she was now seen as, oh, the ex-child star who's trying to protect other child stars. And she was well-liked and well-respected. And even I had made videos on Alexa back in the day, you know, really supporting what she was doing because I thought she was doing it because she actually cared about it or believed in it, and she was actually a good person. And in my opinion, what we'll talk about in a second, she ended up exposing herself for being none of the sort, which was incredibly disappointing because she had built an entire audience who believed that she was the voice for all survivors and the voice of good reason. But then this was later disproven, in my opinion. So, this is where things started getting really interesting. Zoey 101 got a reboot. In 2023, the Zoey 101 reboot was announced. What's interesting was Alexa was not a part of it. She was not invited to be a part of it. She later revealed that she wouldn't have done it anyways, even if she was asked. Okay. She said that Nickelodeon failed to protect her, and she implied that, Jamie Lynn Spears was kind of using this to protect her image, which 100% Jamie Lynn was. Now, Alexa would very much so start really ramping up her attacks on Nickelodeon after she was not included in the reboot. Now, in my opinion personally, I do believe that she was upset that she hadn't even been told about the reboot before it went live. And here's the thing, she was a big part of the show at the start, so obviously I'm surprised she was never let known. But it was very clear that once this went live, she was pissed that she wasn't told about it and that she wasn't involved in it. And I'm going to put myself on the line here and say that I do believe that that's why she was angry. And that's why she really ramped up about Nickelodeon. That they were rebooting her show essentially without even letting her know or including her. And they're wrong for that as well. But I think that this was really what set Alexa off. And she had every right to be. So people online were, really upset that Alexa wasn't a part of it. And she kind of started rallying people against this idea that she had been, wronged yet again by Nickelodeon, and that Nickelodeon, have this personal vendetta against her and all the rest, okay? Now, during this time, she ended up having a feud with Britney Spears. Now, I have notes on my phone about this, so I wanted to talk about this because of the full Jamie Lynn Spears of it all. But basically what happened was that Britney Spears yelled at Alexa Nikolas, who obviously was on Zoey 101, on set after Jamie Lynn Spears accused Alexa of bullying her. So this is interesting. So Alexa Nikolas ended up saying that she was tricked into a trailer to talk to Britney, who then just yelled at her for allegedly bullying her sister Jamie Lynn Spears. What's interesting was Alexa was always a big supporter of the Free Britney movement. She was a big supporter of the Free Britney movement. However, Britney Spears kind of posted on her Instagram story in like 22, 23, that kind of seemed like she was talking shit about Alexa. And then Alexa obviously responded to this. She was not happy about this. And Britney ended up responding, which I have right here. Britney ended up apologizing to Alexa and said that she was told that Jamie Lynn, her sister, was being bullied by Alexa on set. And if she had got that wrong, she's sorry, right? So this is where things are really interesting, because we have being told evidence that Britney shouted at Alexa on the set of Zoey 101 because Jamie Lynn told Britney that Alexa was bullying her on the set. Now, years later, when Alexa is talking badly about Nickelodeon, she says that she was being bullied by Jamie on the set. Now, this was years later, even as recent, she's now speaking out against this. But we've been told that Britney shouted at her all this time for Alexa bullying Jamie. Now, again, I cannot stress enough, I don't give a fuck who bullied who. I don't care if Alexa was bullying Jamie or Jamie was bullying Alexa. They were young girls, and they were in these stressful work environments, and there was probably a lot of egos, a lot of parental, pressure as well. I don't care. I don't look at either of them in the wrong for this, okay? But it is really interesting that we have proof from on set Britney Spears shouting at a young Alexa Nikolas, which she shouldn't have done, by the way, for bullying her sister, Jamie Lynn Spears. But then in 2022, whatever it was, Alexa says that Jamie was actually bullying her after Jamie speaks about Alexa being weird in her memoir. Now, what does this look like to me? Again, I don't care who is in the right, who's in the wrong. This means nothing. They were young kids. Who cares? Let's not hold them to this. But from an outsider's perspective, what it looks like to me was that Jamie Lynn was pissed at Alexa talking about Nickelodeon, considering she was attached to her with the Zoey 101. Jamie talked bad about her experiences with Alexa in the book. Alexa got really pissed. Jamie Lynn Spears, not that liked of a person. Alexa started attacking her and then, talked about the bullying and all like this. But I believe that they probably bullied each other. And I believe that, in my opinion, it is my opinion only, that Alexa probably spoke badly about Jamie when Jamie released her book and people didn't like Jamie because of her involvement in Britney's conservatorship. I believe that Alexa, in my opinion, probably jumped on the public not liking her as an excuse to dunk on a personal experience, her being pissed that she wasn't included in the reboot, so that the public would get on her side because they don't like Jamie already. But it is interesting to note that we have been told that Britney shouted at Alexa on set for allegedly bullying Jamie. But then years later, Alexa saying that Jamie bullied her. Who cares about any of it? But I'm saying that it's really interesting, okay? I don't know. So, we are now going to get to the Cat Tenbarge of it all. So, Cat Tenbarge, journalist, we know her, we love her, had been reaching out to Alexa about Eat Predators, and her email was eventually exposed by Alexa in an attempt to try frame Cat for harassing her. Now, the email was literally just a journalist reaching out with questions, and they were valid questions. We've gone through them. There was nothing wrong with them. The general consensus from the public was that Alexa just wanted to attack Cat and didn't like that Cat was reaching out to her questioning Eat Predators. Cat, as a journalist, has every right to do that. So Alexa, from this moment on, really ramped up attacking Cat Tenbarge. Cat was working on an article about Alexa and Eat Predators that never ended up even coming out. Alexa, even still to this day, will argue that the article that Cat Tenbarge did ruined her career enough that she had to leave social media, which is interesting because the article never even came out. So Alexa just wanted to attack Cat, in my personal opinion. So from this moment on, Alexa Nikolas had the biggest vendetta against Cat Tenbarge, would attack her relentlessly, even though Cat Tenbarge was being a professional and literally just having to ask her questions on an email. Now, Alexa lashed out. She again did to Cat what she does to everyone, which is says that they're supporting predators, they're supporting stalkers, they're supporting... Basically, when Alexa gets called out, she says that you are in support of everything she exposes. She loves to hide behind the Eat Predators of it all when she gets called out for something, which is when the early signs were showing that Alexa didn't necessarily care about exposing predators as much as she let on, in my beautiful opinion. So, she ended up posting many Instagram stories attacking Cat, and this obviously led to harassment from her audience to Cat Tenbarge. And it was very unfair. And yet again, we were seeing Alexa Nikolas be challenged in the slightest by someone, and then she weaponizes her platform to try silence or attack that person. And that is what Alexa did with Cat Tenbarge. This is not the first time she's done this to someone, but again, this started to paint the picture that unless you were directly licking Alexa's ass, she would come for you. And she would use that you don't care about predators. Why don't you care about predators? She cares about them, her audience do. She would then direct her audience to harass you, whether she intended to or not, but she never would shut it down. And this painted the picture that Alexa had built up an audience now to just attack people, in my opinion. So, now we go on to Adam McIntyre, me. So, I had basically called Alexa out for what she was doing to Cat, my good friend. Alexa responds, attacking both me and Cat on a crazy-ass live stream late at night, very manic, may I add, where her mother and her husband were moderators, incredibly unprofessional, and things that they were saying were insane in the chat, where Alexa proceeded to call me a mean girl, a mean kid, a mean adult, which I think is iconic, and I literally reference anytime I get. She really started attacking me on this live stream, and Cat as well. And again, hid behind that we don't care about survivors, we don't care about victims, and we are supporting the predators. All like this. Again, any opportunity of being challenged, she will immediately run with, well, you don't support what I support. And her crazy ass audience will believe it. So, Alexa, did her Instagram stories about me. I enjoyed the back and forth with her. Cat, very professional, lay it to bed. Me, I continued talking about it, and me and Alexa continued to have a long back and forth in which she proceeded to say that I don't care about survivors and all like this, which is ironic because now we're going to get on to Drake Bell. Boo. So Alexa had called Drake Bell out in 2023 for his past conviction relating to child endangerment and harmful materials sent to minors. She made this video with predators. She supports survivors. She wants to expose these predators. And that's what she did. Calling out Drake Bell, okay? Now, what's interesting was she was, calling him a danger the same way she would with anyone else. Now, the video ended up getting scrubbed from the internet, and Alexa would walk back on her claims about Drake Bell, even though he had a past conviction for child endangerment and harmful materials. Now, would you believe it? That Alexa Nikolas, who comes for any person who challenges her in the slightest, even a journalist asking questions over an email, a private email, that Alexa Nikolas, after making this video about Drake Bell, deleting this video about Drake Bell, was spotted at a Drake Bell concert. She went to a Drake Bell concert and was spotted, allegedly, going backstage after to Kiki with Drake Bell, that she made a video on Eat Predators about his convictions with sending harmful materials to minors, child endangerment, and not protecting kids, and being a predator. But now the video's deleted, and she's at his concert, going backstage allegedly. She doesn't care about any of it. This is where I started to call her out. I made a video, a live stream, detailing all of her things that she called Drake Bell out for, deleting it, walking back on it, and saying that actually, Drake Bell, not too bad, even though she'd done that, and then going to his concert. She will never address any of that. And from that moment on, that people started calling Alexa out, she stopped uploading on her YouTube channel, and she now permanently lives on Instagram stories, manically posting about creators that she doesn't like. She will still to this day post about me, she'll post about Cat, she'll post about anyone that challenges her. You know why? Because in my opinion, Alexa Nikolas, my sole opinion, this is my personal opinion, was always a fraud. In my opinion. I believe that she built up an audience and weaponized that audience to attack people that she didn't like, starting with Jamie Lynn Spears. I think she was pissed that she wasn't included in the reboot, and I think that's when she turned evil. And we see this because she doesn't uphold her standards with exposing people on Eat Predators to befriending other ones. In my opinion, she never cared about any of it. In my opinion, what did she care about? In my opinion, allegedly, that she was able to jump on the hate train of people like Jamie Lynn Spears to revive her dead career, and then hid behind Eat Predators. In my opinion, maybe at the start she cared about exposing predators. Maybe. I could believe that. I believe that once she started getting the donations and making money and profiting off of this, that's when it became a business for her. In my opinion. In my opinion. And the only reason I can confidently say that, it being my opinion, is because she walked away from Eat Predators after she got exposed for making that video about Drake Bell, deleting it, walking back on it, and allegedly being his friend. You don't care about predators. You're allegedly befriending ones you've even exposed. Was it all a lie? Was it all a grift? What was it? How are you going to attack people for questioning you, but yet you be calling people out for being predators, delete the video, and then befriend them? Now, what's interesting was, in this crazy live stream she made, I think it's called The Truth About Cat Tenbarge, she shows this email from Cat, and this is the big thing that she's been building up about Cat harassing her. And it literally is just a bunch of questions Cat sent as a journalist. So the audience didn't appreciate that they had been built up, that Cat had been doing something so drastically wrong for it just to be this, that people started turning on Alexa. The more they turned on her, the more manic she got. So much so that in a very controversial move, she threatened to release information, public, sealed, unsealed information, whatever it may be, information about a Drake Bell alleged victim. And the reason she was wanting to post this was to prove that Drake Bell wasn't as bad as people thought. But in the process of doing that, you're just posting information about a victim, which showed private, public, sealed, or unsealed, that she was willing, in my opinion, to throw a victim under the bus to make herself look better. That's what she did here. She was posting all this stuff about some victim's story with Drake Bell in order to kind of weaponize that, well, I exposed Drake Bell, but I walked back on it. Which showed that she didn't take victims' stories, in my opinion, seriously. And that is why I believe that Alexa never again made an Eat Predators livestream. She, will post soppy things on her Instagram and about not being able to post and all this shit. And she'll still attack people on her Instagram story where people can't respond. But she never did another Eat Predators livestream. Why? In my opinion, because she was exposed for not caring about it as much as what she made it out to be. Eat Predators, from what we would believe, was founded to expose the abuse in the entertainment industry and people that would do these kind of things and hide or get away with it. She would protest. She seemed to care about it. She would expose people, but the more the Eat Predators grew, the more Alexa Nikolas grew in fame again. And I think that once she reached a level of fame that she was very cocky with, I think that she didn't care about Eat Predators anymore, in my opinion. And she would attack any person, journalist, content creator, fan, supporter, anyone that would dare question her, because that was a threat to the new level of success that Alexa finally had after all of these years of being dropped off from being a child actor. And it's very unfortunate that something that could have been so good turned into she would allegedly walk back on exposing a story in order to befriend said person. That's not someone who cares about exposing predators. And that's why the brand of Eat Predators, the brand of Alexa Nikolas, crumbled, in my opinion. It's a messy one. It really is a messy one. We have a child star turned exiled child star, years later exposes predators, but then gets to a level of fame where they allegedly start to befriend the predators again. And someone who supports victims and survivors, but is willing to publicly address documents about a victim's story just because it doesn't align with what she's saying. How fucked up is that? I don't know. I want to know your opinion down below. Where's all my mean girls at? My mean kids, my mean adults. Let me know. I think her career is really interesting. And the fact now she just lives on Instagram stories exposing people, go off, queen, I guess. All right, muckers, I will see you in my next one. I hope you're all doing very well, and goodbye.